This is an E-model Sherwood that I'm about to demonstrate the basics of. Over the next 15 minutes we'll cover all the essentials that you need to know before you take off on your holiday in a Escape Rentals vehicle. We'll start on the driver's side of the vehicle with the gas compartment. We need to turn the gas on when we want the gas to operate the fridge and anything else inside. That's located here with a big label on it. Inside you'll find the power lead and the gas bottle. 15 amp power point is required to plug into in a caravan park. Simply plug into the side of the vehicle and then into your power. Best to keep this in with a gas bottle. All the power's together then. Further along we have the hot water heater and our water, both pressure water and our filling tank. The gas bottle inside the gas compartment will have a special stop valve on it. It's very important that if you change bottles or turning the gas on for the first time, that you've turned the gas on, you need to pump the dial several times to get the gas through the line. If for some reason the gas is not working, the first thing you should do is come here and check that this has been pumped and primed and the gas is actually flowing through the line. To extend the awning, you need to first find the winder, which is located either on the right hand side or the left hand side of the door. Unclip that out of here, go to the rear of the vehicle, up the top near the awning, little loop to put through, hook it out, commence winding it out slowly. Very important that you follow the steps to ensure that the awning does not get damaged, as you are responsible for any damage to the vehicle. We bring the awning out about 2/3 of the way to a height where you can get to the legs. Each leg comes out, slides out, comes down. Little wing nut, bring it down to a reasonable height just to start with. Tighten it up a little bit, then go back to your winder and commence winding it out to the distance that you finally want. Go too far, it will go slack. So just go to roughly there. When you've got it, unhook it, put your winder away, and adjust your legs appropriately to the height that you want them. Very important that you don't operate the awning during windy conditions, and that if it's even a slight breeze, that you lock one of the legs into the back of the motorhome and the one near the door. Simply by extending the arm, placing it into the holder and locking it in, like so, tensioning it out so it's tight. That'll help prevent the wind damage. When it's time to pack the awning away, reverse the process, take the winder once again, up into our hook, commence winding it in so that you're in about 2/3 of the way. Then we pack away our arms. Up, tighten it off, bringing it up horizontal and then gently sliding it back in and making sure it clips in. Do this with both legs, making sure the feet are flat when they go in. Once again, clipping in. Then it's just a case of winding it in all the way, making sure it's dry and making sure there's no leaves or gum nuts or anything like that that might damage it when you wind it in. Ensure that you wind it all the way in so that it locks back in without over tightening it. And that's locked in. So now we've got the power on and we've got the awning out, it's time to enter the vehicle. We'll pull out the manual step, lock it down. First thing we need to do before we enter the vehicle is turn the power on. That's the big red button on the control panel. We just hold that for 2 or 3 seconds. We'll hear a beep, power will come up and the lights will come on if everything's on. We'll go over that inside. So we talked about turning the power on from the outside. You can do it from the inside. The outside must be turned off when the vehicle is driven. So it's off now. We've got here, we might be inside or outside. We hold the red button in. We let it come up. Lights will come on if the switches are on. The important things to remember with the control panel is that each thing has a separate button. 12 volt system If it's not connected to the power and the button's off, the lights won't work, so you need to turn them on. Same with the pump. The pump won't work unless it's turned on. Another button here, pumps on, pumps off. And then the external light is down this end. You can check the battery by pushing the battery button, and you can check the water level, which is shown on the left hand side here by holding on the water button. That's essentially all you really need to worry about. Anything else is covered in our comprehensive manual, which talks further about anything else that we've discussed here in this video. Fire extinguisher is located next to the control panel. You do have a few buzzers, etc., and light switches are here as well. So down here at the fridge, we've got a 3-way gas fridge. We've got various controls on it, which I will go through, and a locking system. Make sure it's locked whenever you're traveling naturally. Inside we've got a small freezer. In the event that the fridge is turned off, the button on the far left hand corner here is to turn it on. But if you touch this grey button here, it will illuminate whatever the setting is. At the moment we're on auto with the gas flame, so it's running on gas. If we're plugged into 240 volts, it would show a little power lead here. Okay. When it's running on the vehicle and the vehicle's running and it's on automatic, it'll instantaneously go to the car to power the fridge. By touching this button and holding it, it will move through the cycles. We want it on A, we leave it on A, we hit it again and it goes to the actual temperature control, which is done via the arrows up and down. And then once you have the setting you want, hold the button again and it will lock in. Down further down this end, we have a little green button. This green button operates a fan, so when it's very hot, you might want to use that for half an hour at a time, and that will help cool the fridge further. Located near the sink is a compartment which contains a double power point and the gas hot water heater, switch, as well as some USB points. The vehicle will automatically heat the water if it's plugged into 240 volts and the power point is turned on under the seat. If you're on just free camping, you switch the switch down and it will ignite. Take about 15 to 20 minutes to heat up your hot water. So we've covered everything in the rear of the vehicle. We're now in the driver's seat. There's a few things you want to be aware of and just keep in mind whilst driving a motorhome. It's quite different from driving your normal car. To start with, we're looking at about 3.5 tonne of gross vehicle weight, and we're 3.3 metres high for clearance. So you always want to bear in mind the clearance. Anything that's any lower than 3.3 metres, you're not going to get through. So with that height comes the wind factor, and if strong winds are about, you need to just back it off a bit and slow down. Probably to about 80 kilometres an hour is more than enough. Generally speaking, 100 kilometres an hour you can cruise at in this vehicle quite comfortably. It's had a GVM upgrade of the suspension, which makes it very stable, very comfortable to drive. There's a few things that'll make your trip that little bit more comfortable and possibly a bit safer. The main one being tyre pressure. The vehicle has the tyre pressure set in the rear to 60 to 65 psi and the front between 50 and 55 psi. This is for tar or sealed roads. Once you go onto dirt or particularly corrugated roads, you need to drop that tyre pressure down, preferably to about 50 to 55 in the rear and 40 to 45 in the front. But you can go a bit lower if you need to, so if it's still rough and rattling about, drop the tyre pressure a little bit more. Another thing that'll make your travels in the outback a little bit safer is when you get onto dirt roads, and only dirt roads that is, engage the four-wheel drive in the vehicle. It's a simple matter of putting the gear stick into neutral and then engaging the four-wheel drive button into H4 by depressing it and turning it to the right. Whilst in four-wheel drive, it'll give you that little bit more traction, make that cornering a bit safer, and all round a more comfortable ride for you. Just remember, when you get onto the tar again, you need to disengage four-wheel drive before going on to any sealed road.